Well, I hope you had a wonderful Christmas and you got plenty of treats. And, well, it seems that Zack Snyder delivered a few as well, a little more than a few, for Snyder Cut fans. So, I'm just going to go with Cosmic Book News, who's collected some of the images that he's released. And he always refers to it, release the Snyder Cut teases. It's Zack Snyder teases. But it's, the whole movement and everything for that film to be released. So, yeah, here's Batman and him walking around. This was a bit, I thought this was a bit earlier, I think, where he listed it that the ship can feel his presence and whatnot, and there's the Flash bringing in the coffin with Superman's body in there, and then we see the Superman suit off to the side on the ship, and made references to the Holy Grail and all that, and that was something he did earlier, referring to Percival and all that. And then, well, here's Steppenwolf, and he's got the mother box, and then he, well, the running time of the cut that he is pushing to be released as the Snyder Cut. Should it be released? And I think it should. I think it's all but a done deal. I suspect, most likely for HBO Max. I still hope out that even when they do a Blu-ray release with a lot of extra little documentaries about the whole story. I probably won't get the whole story, but I'll take what I can get, because I'm even almost as interested more in that than I am in the movie itself. But anyway, so, there's Steppenwolf. Oh, he's got the box. So it was probably, no doubt, it was a more extensive ordeal for Steppenwolf to get that mother box from Star Labs, which apparently results in the death of Cyborg's father, and so on and so forth, instead of just a brief scene of him flying away in a boob tube after their fight with Superman. Oh, by the way, while you were distracted. So, yeah, it's a little bit more than that. There's the scene of Batman approaching Aquaman. And he teases it with lines from the King Arthur story, most notably from the film Excalibur, which I think it was a Ping Pong Flicks channel where I heard that he stated that apparently Excalibur is one of Zack Snyder's all-time favorite films. It is a very good film, but I just didn't know that was one of his favorite, if not his most favorite, or what have you. I don't know. But so he has the lines in here about it, referring to probably some of the themes and motives behind his thinking for the story that began with Batman versus Superman. I guess the Man of Steel obviously begins the whole DCEU, but for the narrative that Zack Snyder was following, was more in line with the Arthurian legend, and of course, like Lord of the Rings and something along those lines. Certainly, a lot of people, I can't remember if it was a Screen Rant article or what have you, said that, hey, I think he was setting this up is closer to Lord of the Rings in the sense that, Darkseid becomes more like Sauron, and where he's the ultimate evil at the heart of all of this, and kind of is a bit of a puppet master, if you will. Another shot of the graveyard scene, and there's Cyborg and Flash, digging up Superman. Boy, it looks like a scene from Frankenstein. Especially he puts all these pictures in black and white. Well, that might not be an accident either. There's a danger, of course, in doing this, but for them to resurrect him after what happened with Zod and Doomsday and everything. So, there's more of an explanation, as I understand it, for why Superman doesn't turn into a monster when he resurrects, is because he has the advantage of the Codex. So see, you link the stories. See, why not? And then there was another post that Comic Book News did here, because Henry Cavill put out a Christmas post with his dog and all that, and that's all well and good, but Snyder Cut's what we're interested in. So thanks, Merry Christmas to you too, Henry. But here's another image that he released, and this is obviously after he's resurrected, I believe, and he's talking with Lois. And so that's the scene we didn't get. And then, there's Bruce Wayne with his weaponry and whatnot. And, of course, Bruce Wayne's driven by guilt, really, because of course, he was manipulated by Luthor, but he did ultimately push Superman into a position where he died. I mean, he actually plotted to kill Superman until he realized, whoops, I'm making a mistake here. And so he's driven to make up for that. And so here's this scene where he's dealing with the threat that is coming. And then here's the a very Christ-like image of Superman resurrected and back in form. Now I looked on Vero and I saw these images and everything, but boy, I tell you, every time he does this, there's like, oh man, almost immediately like 900 responses on it. I just don't have the time to go through them. Well, fortunately, other people do. And so, here's some people that asked him, why haven't you watched the theatrical version of Justice League? Boy, I would have thought it was more like, I think it was something like George Lucas said he was kind of reluctant to watch the Disney Star Wars, and boy, that's a wise decision. But nevertheless, he said, it's like when you break up with a girlfriend and you don't really want to see her with her new guy. It's something like that, But he says here, a lot of reasons, and maybe that's one of them, somebody else messed, because it's it took your film and messed with it, and that's exactly what happened here. Boy, if it had been actually really good, it might have been worse, but it just wasn't. But anyway, he says, people who I trust and who have seen the theatrical cut and the true cut, he says, so these are people who've seen both, told him to never watch it. So between the two, it's that bad. And I mean, since we've learned that only 10% of his footage is used, so it's really messed up. And and then someone asked about the nightmare sequences, which was one of the, there was a lot of really, I still stand by my statements that Batman versus Superman, even which is the director's cut, is the one you want to see. The theatrical version, just not, it's not all there. It's a flawed film in a lot of ways, but man, does it have some fantastic scenes in it. And one of those was, of course, the nightmare sequence. And it's like, I didn't even expect it, and I was, oh, look at this. It's, holy crap, that's Darkseid and everything, And then the parademons show up. So it says, oh yeah, there will be more of those. And of course, that's the ultimate payoff of this narrative he's setting up, is that they're going to have this confrontation with Darkseid. And that's what they're trying, is this horrible prophecy, basically, that Batman has. That's one of the things I'm hoping maybe it isn't in this cut, and unfortunately, he won't be able to complete the whole story unless, there's just this overwhelming response to it, and they think, well, there's money to be made here. Is Batman's dream, why does he have it? I'm more partial to the idea that maybe the new gods of Genesis would be introduced here, and it was Metron or somebody like that, is pushing Batman to have dreams about this, or it was simply as a result of the Flash traveling back through time that had an effect on him, to where he's getting visions of that future before the Flash arrives and appears to him. And it seems dreamlike, but it's really just the effects of time travel and, disturbing the continuity or the continuum, if you will. And that's how Bruce Wayne experiences that manifestation of it all. And so maybe that's more of what it is. It wasn't some intelligent entity like another new god or what have you, inspiring Batman to see visions, but rather just the Flash coming from the future trying to warn him about what's about to happen. So there you go. Another thing's favorite shot of the Flash, him running across the fabric of time. Well, so maybe that does answer my question. And then the most important part here is always the question of how much of it was finished. I never really thought it was complete, that there had to have been some stuff, and that might have been one of the big stumbling blocks of getting this released in any form of it. Like, it could have been a Blu-ray release already. You know, it says, well, here's the director's cut or what have you. Like his previous films, you know, Watchmen was like that, Batman vs. Superman, and so on. But he says right here, not 100% finished. Still some stuff I want to do, as with every film. Yeah, there's extended cuts of Zach's films already. I've made sure I'm not sure if he's copied this right or what. I can't quite follow the line here. I've made sure what difference it makes as to the finished level of the film. So it's like he feels that he needs to do these bits of the film that he wants to complete, and that it does make a difference rather than just leaving it as it is, apparently. So, and I'm wondering, because the only thing I heard him admit to that was never shot was the scene of the Martian Manhunter reveal. And I'm wondering, is that he wants that to be done and put in there. So stuff like that, that sort of completes the overall story he was getting to. I doubt that it would complete it overall because, well, there were supposed to be at least 2 other films, maybe 3, I think. I could try, but and that's just at this stage of the game really isn't going to happen unless, like I said before, if there's some overwhelming response to this, and then HBO Max just gets a buttload of subscribers because I want to see this film, you know, then it might push them to think, well, I want to continue this. So we'll have to see. Anyway, the other tidbit of news, not a tidbit, is a kind of a nice deal here. More support for the suicide prevention cause that he's big about. And we have his Zack Snyder's Justice League, or Zack Snyder's JL, which, oh wow, is that the logo for the for the forthcoming Snyder cut? And it'll just, instead of Snyder cut, it'll be called Zack Snyder's Justice League. And so it's you get a hoodie here with all the symbols for your heroes, even Green Lanterns. Oh, he's Green Lantern in the film, beyond just the ancient Green Lantern. Supposedly there was a teaser at the end of that film where Batman is visited by some Green Lanterns. So which is also a teaser for future movies, which, boy, I want to see those too. So everybody sign up when they announce. So hopefully the saga can be complete. Anyway, so there you go. You can head over here to inktothepeople.com/Zack Snyder JL and buy yourself a Zack Snyder excuse me, Zack Snyder's JL apparel. Yeah. And do it for a good cause too. So there you go. Zack Snyder's Justice League, back from the dead, perhaps, and coming for us. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's all we can really do at this point. But interesting times when it concerns the Snyder Cut. So #release the Snyder Cut. Indeed. Thank you for watching and listening. Say, why not like and subscribe, and check out that link description below. That'll take you to my mini stores that have plenty of goodies for you. Yes, that's right. And also, you can find my videos on that other video platform, BitChute.com. So please subscribe to the Mr. Nailsin channel on BitChute.com.